Hello, welcome to Word of Torah in its new home, and Nativ. This week we're looking at Parshas Lekh Lekha, which is mainly the story of Avram Avinu, Abraham, our father. But there's an interesting side character who has a curious arc of his own, and that's Lot, the character of Lot. So here we are in Genesis or Bereshis, chapter 12, verse 5. V'yikach Avram es Sarai ishto, and Abraham took his wife Sarah, ve'es Lot ben Achiv, and Lot, the son of his brother. Now, Lot doesn't get a lot of attention through the parsha, but he peeks his head above the parapet every now and again, often when he's getting himself into trouble. Now, it's fair to assume that Lot had a similar character to Avram, that Avram took him into his house, that he kind of raised him, and this shows the kindness of Abraham, that the first thing we know about him is that he's taking for a wife a woman who can't have children, and an orphaned boy, and he takes them, and actually he goes on to make Lot wealthy, and to the point that, you know, after the whole family comes out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, it says Lot also is wealthy. You know, v'gam lelot haholech es Avram haya tzon uvaka v'ohalim. So Lot, who is going with holech es Avram, he's going with Abraham, haya tzon v'vaka v'ohalim. So he has now flocks and herds and tents, which he didn't have in the beginning. He was orphaned, and there's not much to say that he had a lot, but Avram actually makes him wealthy. And then Lot gets himself in trouble. So during the war of the 4 kings and the 5 kings, Lot gets kidnapped by one of the sets of kings. Vayichu. So this kach is the same kach as we saw in the first verse. The vayikach was Abraham took, and now we see it in the third instance. Vayikachu, the u is making it plural. Vayikachu es Lot, so Lot gets taken again. V'es rakusho, and his wealth or his bounty. Ben Achi Avram, son of the brother of Avram. V'yelchu, and this is like holek and yelech, but again it has an u, which is saying it's plural. So they v'hu yoshev b'sidom, and because he had settled in Sidom. So how did Lot get into Sidom? Well, back in chapter 13, the farmhands of Lot and Abraham are arguing. It says, Vayhi riv. A riv is to contend or to argue. Bein ra'ei miknei. So ra'ei miknei is the shepherds of the cows. Avram. Uvein ra'ei miknei Lot. So the herdsman of the one and the herdsman of the other. Riv. They're arguing. V'hakna'ani, and the Canaanites. Haprizi and the Perizzites, Oz Yeshev Ba'aretz, and at this time they were in the Aretz, they were in the land. So Abraham says to Lot, V'yom Avram el Lot el na. He starts off to say please. Now please is a very important word, because it really comes up for the first time when Avram Avinu says please. Now he says it under complicated circumstances, but if you just find the word please and track it through the Chumash, you'll see a very interesting arc about who says it to who and when. So, V'yomer Avram el Lot, al na. Now the al na here is actually, it's not to please, it's the al here is a negating al. It's like the word lo, but just happens to be the letters the other way around. So al na means please not, sehi, there will be, meriva, just like the first word a minute ago, riv, which was to contend. So please let there not be an argument, beini uveinecha, between me and between you. Uvein ro'oi, and between my herdsman, uvein ro'echa, between your herdsmen. Ki anashim Achim, because we are people of brothers, anachnu, we are. So we're related. Why should we argue? Is it not that the whole land is before you? Hello, kol haaretz, lifnecha, the before you. Hipared, na, me'alai. He's saying, hipared is to say, separate. Na, again, please. Me'alai, from on me. Im hasmol, if to the left, ve'emina, I will go to the right. Ve'im hayamin, if you go to the right, asmila, I will go to the left. Now what's interesting here is Abraham, Avram in this case, is the more senior. He is the older, he's the more wealthy, he's the more senior relative. He took Lot in under his wing when Lot was vulnerable as an orphan, and he raised him and made him wealthy. So when it comes to separating the two families, who should really get to choose which way the families go? Should it be Lot, the less successful, the one who's contributed less, the less senior, the younger, and the one who has benefited more from the other party? Or should it be the more senior and the more wealthy and the more successful and the higher up? Well, this shows their character, because Avram offers the choice to Lot. He offers him the chance to take the better land, to take the easier life, to take the easier path. And he says, I'll just take whatever's left over. That's Abraham's character. That tells you a lot about who Abraham is. What does Lot do? Well, Vayisa Lot, and Lot lifted es einov, his eyes. V'yah, and he saw, es kol kika hayardain, he saw the whole valley of the Jordan. Ki kula mashke, mashke is to water, to give irrigation. Lifnei sheches, and this is lifnei, before sheches, the destruction, Adonai es Sidon. This is before God took the valley of the Jordan and turned it into the Dead Sea. It's before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and left behind a salt lake. Ve'es Amorah, this Sodom and Gomorrah, notice here that Amorah is spelt with an ayin. This is because we used to have two ayins. We had an ayin and a rayin, right? So in Hebrew, we call this place Amorah, but we used to call it Ramallah, right? And this is what the Arabs still call it now, which is why when it comes into English, it's Gomorrah, because we don't have a letter in English, so we just deal with the G, but actually it's Amorah. Kagan Adonai, it was like the garden of God. Ka'aretz Mitzrayim, like the land of Mitzrayim, which we know is this fertile place with this brilliant river coming through it, and that's why it's always so tempting. Then it says, Ba'aka Tsoar. So, let's look at these two words. Ba'aka, very interesting, okay, often. So it's to go in, to enter, to come, and to go, right? So that's what's happening. This is a long form of he's going to go, and Tsoar is the name of the town he goes to. But what is the meaning of the name Tsoar? Well, the meaning of the name Tsoar is insignificance. Okay? So the plain meaning of it is that it would be destroyed all the way down to Tsoar. But the underlying meaning is that he went into insignificance. How clever is that? So it's just hidden in there that Abraham offered a choice to Lot, who had the opportunity to say, no, Abraham, you're the great man, you're favored in the eyes of God, you're wealthy, you looked after me my whole life, of course I shouldn't choose where we go, you choose. He could have given him the choice, but instead he lifted his eyes, he looked around the plain of the Jordan, and he chose where he wanted to go, and in doing so, he went down into insignificance. So, let that roll with you. So, Vayivachar, and he chose, lo, for himself, Lot did, so the subject of the sentence comes after the verb, so, and he chose for himself, did Lot, es kol kika hayorden, he chose all the valley of the Jordan. He didn't even share the valley. He chose the whole thing. V'yisa Lot, and he traveled mikedem from the east. V'yifardu ish me'al achiv. Now, don't get me wrong. Lot hasn't done anything wrong. Avram said, choose a place to be, and he chose a place to be. And then he went off and he did exactly what he was told, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But Abraham would have given up the choice to the other person. Abraham would have been generous and kind and thoughtful and raised up the other person, which is what he keeps on doing, and humbles himself and raises up the other person. This is why God chooses Abraham. And what about Lot? Lot goes, okay, I see wealth. I don't mind. I'll take it. He says, take the wealth. Okay. He doesn't even hesitate. He takes up the land. So now he's in the land. The battle is coming. And in 14, he gets kidnapped by the kings that live there. And who comes and saves him? Avram Avinu, Abraham, my father. The story goes on. And we end up in chapter 19. Now, chapter 19 is right after these three messengers have visited Avram Avinu. Now, Avram Avinu is right after having circumcised himself. It's hot. He's recovering from a major operation that he did himself with no anesthetic, with a sharp bit of flint. And now he's sitting in the entrance of his tent. And as soon as he sees the messages and an opportunity to give to someone, he jumps up out of his tent. He starts running around trying to make them welcome. Please come, eat by me. And he runs to his wife. Please come make some cakes. Can you make some food for them? And I'm going to do. And he gets together some food. Some say that he brought them cow's tongue, which I tried for the first time in Sukkot. It is a whole experience. Anyway, tangents. So he goes and he welcomes them. Now, after leaving Avram, two of the messengers go to where Lot is. Vayavo. Okay, so bo is to come or to arrive in the place. And because it has an u on the end, it's showing that it's plural doing it. Yava'u shenei hamlakim, two of the messengers, Sidma, be'erev. They went to Sodom in the evening. V'lot yashev b'sha'ah Sidom. And Lot was sitting in the gate of Sidom. V'ya Lot, and Lot saw. V'yakom, and he rose, likrasem, to meet them, to greet them. V'yishtechu, and they bowed, apayim, on their faces, artsa. Now, Eretz is the land, and artsa, the hay on the end, is saying towards. So just like in Sidma, the hay on the end is saying towards Sidom, be'erev, in the evening. Now they're saying yishtechu, they bowed, apayim, their faces artsa, to the ground. Okay, so they're very respectful. He goes to greet them and they bow down and they're interacting him as if he's a great man. V'yomer hine na Adonai, and he said, behold, na, please. He started saying please. So clearly we see that Avram is influencing Lot. The character of Lot, he jumps up, he goes and greets just like Abraham did. Now, Abraham did it to a higher level. He ran out, he feed them, he begged them to come, and he was doing all this right after circumcision. Lot got up and he greeted them, and it's good. He's taking the character, but it's paralleling what Avram is doing, but it's not quite as holy. It's always the slightly lesser version. Okay, so he's trying. Give him credit for trying. V'yomer hine na Adonai suru na. So he's saying like, turn, please. He says please again. Turn, please. El bais avdechem, to the house of your servant. Right. So he's saying, come here. And he goes on to say, velinu, and stay with me. V'rechatzu raglechem, and bathe your feet, because this is a classic thing in travel. You're walking around a desert, stony ground, with sandals, and the thing you really need when you've been walking for days is you just need to get your feet in water, and it's a relief. So he's showing them kindness, and he's thinking about what they might need. V'hish kamtem, shechem is to rise, shecham is to rise, okay? So he's saying like you can rise early and go, which is, it sounds like he's getting rid of them, but actually what he's doing is saying, he's being humble. He's saying, if you don't want to hang out with me, if you don't want to be in my place too long, you can get up early, you can go, it's not a problem. But please first come and rest with me, be safe in my house, wash your feet. If you want to get up early and go, fine, but just stay with me. V'yomru, which is just like this sentence started with v'yomer, which is, and he said, but this is yomru. The u is saying they are doing it. So v'yomru lo, and they say lo ki varchov nalin. We will stay in the square, in the open, in the outside. We'll stay out here. It's not a problem. Often, in Israel, you do get people in the high summer, especially in very safe areas. People just sleep outside because it's hot. So they say no. But he urged them strongly, so they turned his way and entered the house. And he prepared a feast for them and baked matzah. They baked unleavened. Okay. Vayiftzar bam ma'od v'yasuru. So they turned aside a love to him. V'yavo'u, and they came in el beiso, to his house. V'ya'as lehem, and he made for them mishta, like a party, matzos, and unleavened, matzah, like crackers, afah, v'yochelu, and they ate. Terem yishkavu, before they lay down. Shochav is to lie down, but the u at the end is saying they're doing it. So terem, before they lay down, v'anshei, and the people ha'ir of the city, Anshe Sidom, the people of Sidom. So let's look at this unusual word here. Nasabu is to turn, sovav, right? So this is like sovivon, like a dreidel turns around, right? So nasabu is they turned like a dreidel, el habayis. They turned to the house. Mina'ah, from the youth, ad zakain, until the old beardy man. Kol ha'am, the whole people, mikatzeh, they without extremity, without exception, the whole town descended on the house. V'yikru el Lot, and they called to Lot, v'yomeru lo, and they said to him, Ayeh ha'anashim asher bo'u elecha halayla, and where are the people that came to you, halayla, this night, hotzi aim, bring them out, elanu, to us, v'neda osam, and we will know them. Yeah, it's not looking good. You don't need me to explain what it means biblically to know someone like that. They don't want to be known by these lads. This is not a consensual situation. This is a bad evening. V'yetzei aleihem. So he went out to them. Lot. V'yetzei aleihem, and Lot went out to them. Ha-pascha, to the entrance. So the patach is the entrance, but you see the hay on the end is saying to the entrance. V'hadelet, and the door, sagur acharav, he closed the door behind him. So he's putting himself in harm's way to protect these lads. So far, so Abrahamic. He's doing the right things so far. V'yomer al-na, you see the al-na? The al-na is the negate, the negative. Al-na, please don't achi tereu. So he's saying, don't, please, do this evil. He's saying, al-na, please don't, achi, brothers, tereu, do ra. Ra is, see the reish ayin, this is evil. He says, hine la, hine na li, shtei banos. I have 2 daughters. Oh, this isn't very Abrahamic. This is where Lot goes off the derrick a little bit. So he means well, but the method by which he does it, it's not okay. It's great to bring them into your house. It's great to protect them. It's great to put, it's a brave thing to put yourself in harm's way for their protection. But it's not good to throw your daughters under the bus. This is where Abraham wouldn't Anyway, whatever. Hine na li shtei banos. Listen, behold, please, I have 2 daughters. Asher lo yadu ish, that have not known a man. Otzia na. I will bring them out, please. Eshem, them. Aleichem, to you. Va'asu lehem, and do to them ketov be'enecha, what is good in your eyes. I don't want to carry on reading this bit. I really struggle with this. But you should follow Lot's story through and see it really as a parallel to Abraham, because he gets stuff right. He really does. He gets stuff right. He does beautiful things, but then mixed into there is him just falling short. So whenever you have a story from Lot and when you have a story from Abraham, run them alongside each other and say, which character would I rather be? Abraham is the most elevated, and Lot is so human. He's trying and he misses the mark, but his intention is always to do good. He is an elevated man, but he's not the father of the nation. So I think that's subtle. I think that's a very subtle thing. Often we tend to think of the Bible, the Torah, as being black and white. Here's the goodie, here's the baddie. But actually, more often than that, we get a much richer story where here is someone coming from a place of complexity, good and bad, refining their character, or someone who is a gray area themselves, who is striving towards good, but not every single time achieving it. And I think the importance of that is not to give up. That, if you have a past, if you've tried and failed before, you don't stop there. You keep trying to be more like Abraham, be more like the Nevi'im and the great characters of the Torah. So I want to leave you with that, and I want to thank you very much for your time. I hope that doesn't feel like you're bereft of the story, but go into Genesis 19. Keep reading. This is Genesis of Bereshit, chapter 19, verse 8, and follow that story through and let us know what your thoughts are and what your insights are from that story. Thank you very much for your time.